Hello. So, a very good afternoon to all of you. This is the second session, but the first lecture in the series of Mapping Enrichment Program. So, as we have previously in the previous class, we have concluded with the physiographic divisions of India, and under it we have taken up the mountain systems of India. We'll just briefly summarize what we have already covered in the previous lecture, and then slowly we'll move on to the next topic, which will be the northern plains. So after northern plains, we'll be taking up other topics inside the physiographic divisions of India. So this was a main slide which was shown to you in the previous lecture also, which describes 6 major physiographic divisions of India, including the northern mountains, which we have discussed in the previous session. Northern plains we'll be discussing today, Indian desert, Peninsular Plateau, coastal plains, and the last one would be the island. So some are the major islands, but some prominent other islands also, including the riverine island and the islands which are present along the coast. We'll also try to cover that. So with the brief divisions of the northern mountains, as we have seen, we have divided the mountain ranges, the Himalayan mountain ranges, into 2 divisions. The first division was the north to south division, in which from the northernmost side we have taken up the Trans Himalayas. Then the Greater Himalayas comes to the southern side of it. Then we have Lesser Himalayas with us and the Shivalik. The elevation of these ranges also decreases from the north to south. And moving on to the next division, we have from east to west division. And say this west to east division or east to west division, whatever you want to call it, these divisions are basically divided on the basis of river basins. So we have right from the movement towards from the western side between Indus and Satluj river, there is one division of Jammu and Kashmir hills. Then we have from the Satluj river towards the Kali river, we have Himachal hills. Then we have the Kumaon hills. Then we have from the Kali river towards the Teesta river, we have another division, and from the Teesta river towards the end of the Purvanchal. So we have the last division. So accordingly, we have divided in these 2 divisions the northern mountains of India. Next, we have also discussed some of the. Let me show you. Next, we discussed some of the passes, major passes, which were located in these ranges. In these ranges, major passes or the largest amount of passes were present in the Karakoram range. Then we moved on to the Himachal. Himachal ke baad we have seen the Uttarakhand, some of the passes like Lipu Lake Pass and the Mana Pass, the Niti Pass, which are located in Uttarakhand. Then we have seen some of the passes in Sikkim also. 2 passes were majorly discussed, which were Zalepla Pass and Nathula Pass. Then we had discussed about some of the passes in the Arunachal Pradesh also, Dihang Pass and Dipu Pass. After covering the passes, we took up glaciers. So some important glaciers we also took up. These glaciers were discussed in the pattern of the Himalayas only. So in the Karakoram range, we have found that maximum number of passes were present. Then some of the passes we have discussed in glaciers were present. Some of the glaciers, Sonapani Glacier and Baras Shingri Glacier in the Himachal we have discussed. Then we moved towards the Uttarakhand side. Uttarakhand mein we have Gangotri Glacier, Yamunotri Glacier, Bandarpooch Glacier. These all glaciers, Milam Glacier, these all glaciers we have discussed. So, and Kanchenjunga and the Zemu Glacier will be on the Sikkim part. So these are major glaciers which we have discussed. Some of these glaciers are the originating point of one of the biggest rivers in India also, including the Ganga, Yamuna, etc. Now, when we have discussed about the northern mountains, and then after the northern mountains comes the northern plains. So northern plains are those regions which are in particularly located in the southern side of the Himalayas. So, and for the basic characteristic, understanding the basic characteristic of northern plains, we have to understand it in this manner ki they are made up of the sedimentary deposits of all the rivers which are flowing down from the Himalayas. So these are mainly the form of landforms which are based upon the sedimentary rock deposits through the river flow. Now, if we can discuss about now we'll discuss the extension of these northern plains. Northern plains extends from the if you take up from the east western side, and from the Sindh plains, the western side of Sindh plains consists of Katyhawk range and the Suleiman range. Then we have on the northern side we have obviously Shivalik, which is the southernmost part of the Himalayas. Then in the eastern side we have Purvanchal range, we have already discussed in the Himalayas only. So, and in the southern side we have Vindhya range or the Peninsular Plateau, which from where the Peninsular Plateau has been starting. So between these ranges, or between these mountain platforms or plateau platforms, we have categorized the presence of northern Himalayas. Now northern Himalayas also have certain other characteristics also. It is the largest alluvial tract in the world. It consists it extends for around 3,200 kilometers, and then on the Indian sector also it accounts for like 2,400 kilometers. Then we, as we have already discussed, northern boundary is the Shivalik, southern boundary is the Peninsular Plateau or the Vindhya range. The western border is the Suleiman and the Ketar range, which are located in the in Pakistan. Then eastern boundary is Purvanchal, and they are basically widest in the western part of their western part, and they reduce their width when we move along towards the eastern side. Now other characteristics, if we want to discuss about the northern plains, the thickness of the alluvium which are present over here is from 1,000 meters to 2,000 meters. The average elevation is like around 200 meters, and the highest elevating point is Ambala, which is at 291 meters. Then there is a very slow gradient from the region around Saharanpur towards the Kolkata, which is only 20 centimeters per kilometer. And so this defines the extreme horizontality of this plane. So this plane is obviously the most horizontal you'll ever find in Indian landforms, Indian physiographic divisions, and it extends from, obviously we have discussed, from the western part Sindh plains towards the eastern part, where towards the Brahmaputra plains. Now while discussing the northern plains also, we have divided it into certain characteristic forms. Like if we are dividing it in the form of north to south region, we are dividing it in on the basis of consolidated material which they have gathered. So when the rivers are flowing down from the Himalayas, they deposit heavier sediments, heavier gravels and stones and everything in the initial phase, and then slowly the more consolidated materials get deposited, and accordingly these plains are also formed. So these are four types of plains which are categorized on the basis of consolidation of the material. So there is Bhabar, Terai, then we move on to Bhangar and Khadar. So this is the schematic map. If you can see how these type of plains have been divided. So let's see, if there is a Himalaya and then the river is flowing down from the Himalayas, and it will deposit the most heaviest form of material in the starting itself. So these the Bhabar region comes first, and in this region you will find stone deposits, mainly stone deposits or calcium conker deposits, if you will say. So these deposits will get deposited in the initial phase of river flow. Then if you move down in the southward direction from Bhabar, you will find the Terai region. Terai region is basically the extended floodplain of any river, which was flooded in the initial period, or when some excessive rainfall has happened in that particular region. The floodplain of the river has extended to its outer boundaries, and then it acts as a marshy plain. So here you will find bushes and everything growing up, and it acts as a very fertile region for agriculture also. Then if we'll move towards the southern part, we'll find the Bhangar plains. The Bhangar plains are the older alluvium. See, if the river is flowing in a particular direction, through this picture schematic diagram, if you can understand, the Bhangar is the older alluvium which lies to the which lies away from the tip of the river. So where the river has been flowing, when over the period of time it is depositing more and more alluvium, the older alluvium gets away from the natural flow. Then the khadar would be the nearest part of that alluvium, which will be the newer alluvium, and it is along the coast lines of the river. So khadar would be you have to remember, khadar will be the newer alluvium which lies closest to the river flow, and then bhangar would be the older alluvium which lies away from the river flow. So in these patterns we have divided the according on the basis of the consolidated material which has been deposited. These plains have been divided into Bhabar plains, Tarai plains, then we have Bhangar plains, and then the last one would be the Khadar plains. Khadar plains are also known as wetland. These wetlands are basically the local name of Khadar plains which are found in the Punjab region. If you go to the Punjab, you will find these Khadar plains, and over there these are known as wetlands. Wetlands, if you wetland, the spelling of wetland will be wetland, B-E-T. This would be the what we can say, the local name of Khadar plains in the Punjab region. Now when we are done with on the basis of consolidation of the material, now we are dividing these plains on the regional divisions. The people have been living in these places, and accordingly they have developed some culture, they have developed some of their language, and on the basis of their particular region these plains are also divided. So we have Sindh plain, moving from the western side towards the eastern side. We'll find Sindh plain on the western side, as we have discussed already, ki Suleiman and the Keethar range in the Pakistan area. That area is known as Sindh plain. Then we have Rajasthan plain moving towards the eastern side, Punjab plain, Ganga plain, Brahmaputra plain, and Ganga Brahmaputra delta region. So now this regional division can be seen clearly in through this map. If you'll see, Pakistan region was the Sindh plain, then we have Rajasthan plain, Punjab Haryana plain, then we have Upper Ganga plain, Middle Ganga plain, Lower Gangetic plain, and the Brahmaputra plain. So in this manner, the northern India has been divided from the east to west or west to east, whatever you want to take it, the division. So we have discussed north to south and then east to west. Now when we are discussing these plains, some of the plains are also being divided on the basis of their regional names, regional characteristics, their linguistic characteristics. So human interference has also divided these plains depending on what kind of people were living in that place, and those plains were regarded or are known by that regional name. So from moving from the upper Gangetic plain and the lower Gangetic plain, as we have seen in the previous slide, upper Ganga plain and the middle Ganga plain, these plains and these major plains have been divided into regional names like Rohilkhand plains, moving from the west towards the eastern side, Awadh plains, Mithila plains, and Magadh plains, and Rar plains. So if we can point out these plains in the map, we'll see Rohilkhand plains you will find in the Rohilla area. This is the upper Gangetic plain, which is basically named as Rohilkhand plains. Okay. Then we have the middle Gangetic plain, which is known as Awadh plains. So now Awadhi has been spoken in this region. From that name it has gotten its name, and it is known as Awadh plains. Then we move towards the Bihar region. The northern part of Bihar is known as Mithilanchal, and in that sense it will known as Mithila plains. Then the southern part of Bihar region, southern side of the Ganga, which flows from the Bihar, it is known as Magadh plains. So Magadh plains will be on the southern side of the river, and Mithilanchal or Mithila plains will be in the northern side. Then the lower Ganga plains, which we can find in the West Bengal region, there is these plains are known as Rar plains, R-A-R-H. So the Gangetic plain has been divided into certain different kind of plains depending on what kind of people, what kind of culture, what kind of linguistic heritage these regions hold, and accordingly they have been named they have been divided into different sections. Now we have covered these Ganga plains also, northern plains. We are over with the northern plains. Now northern plains was the second part. Moving towards the southern part, we'll find the major physiographic division, which consists of Peninsular Plateau. So Peninsular Plateau, as we can see, this is the region of Peninsular Plateau. So Peninsular Plateau lies in the northern side, is like the northern plains. Then we have the coastal plains covering it on all sides, and inside this Peninsular Plateau region also, we don't have any single plateau. This region is divided among several small plateaus, several small hills, and it consists of different characteristics. These Peninsular Plateau are one of the oldest landforms which are present in the earth, and it refers to the Archean gneiss and schist rock material. And apart from that, these are the most stable form of land which you can find in the Indian subcontinent. There is no seismic activity you can find in these regions, so these seismically these are very stable regions. And the average height over in this region would be 600 to 900 meters. As you can see, you'll go to Bangalore, locations like Bangalore or something, you will find that Bangalore Plateau lies at a similar kind of height in which the Dehradun lies. So they are mostly in the similar height level at around 800 to 900 meters. And most of the peninsular rivers which flow in this region, they flow from west to east direction, because the watershed has, as we have discussed in the previous session also, our watershed is divided like this. So many of the rivers which flow towards, there are many rivers which flow towards the eastern side in this peninsular region, and some minor rivers are also there which flows towards the western coast. Among them, Narmada and Tapi are also one of the major rivers, but some of the rivers like Zuari and Mandvi, which you can find in the Goa region or the Konkan region, these rivers also flow towards the western side. Now, Indian Plateau region, if we say Indian Plateau region, it is also divided into among two major components. One component is the central tableland, which consists of majorly three physiographic features, which are namely Aravalli Hills. We'll discuss in central tableland the Aravalli Hills. The second one would be the Vindhya ranges, and the third one would be the Satpura ranges. These are the major ranges which consist of a part of central tableland. Then we have Peninsular Plateau, and in Peninsular Plateau we consider Ghats, the Deccan Plateau region of the Maharashtra region. Then we have Karnataka Plateau. Then we have Telangana Plateau. Then we have small chunks of other plateaus also, like Dandakanna Plateaus, Chota Nagpur Plateau, which will consider it under Peninsular Plateau part. Now moving on to first the central tableland. As we have as I've told you, central tableland के अंदर we'll have three divisions: Aravalis, Vindhyas, and Satpura ranges. If you can find Aravalis, let me just put on. Somebody, if somebody is in online also, and if you can tell, कि Aravalis extends from which states, if you can find out. Yes. 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 No Himachal. So if you are considering any ranges and anything, we'll have to see in which region they are passing through. So Aravallis passes through from, if you are taking from the southern direction to the northern direction, it passes through the region of Gujarat. Then it covers the area of Rajasthan. Then it moves towards Haryana, and it ends in Delhi. Delhi may, if somebody is staying around old Rajendra Nagar, and he or she is moving towards the Connaught Place, then on the Shankar Road you will find ridges. These ridges are the part of Aravallis only. You will find Aravallis till central Delhi and entering into central Delhi from that region, and around the southern Delhi area, in the southern Delhi area in JNU and around, you will find ridges. These ridges are of Aravalli ranges. Now let us have a look for Aravalli ranges. Aravalli ranges are extending from Gujarat. They have certain gaps in between them, and then covering the Rajasthan, Haryana region, they enter into New Delhi. So these are basically in the physiographic form. If you consider these Himalayas, Aravalli ranges, these are old fold mountains. The formation of these Aravallis are similar to the Himalayas, like the way Himalayas were built, but they are known as new fold mountains because they are newly made up. Aravallis are the old fold mountains, and they extend from Delhi in the New Delhi region towards the Palampur and Gujarat. They have a highest peak called Guru Shikhar, which is near Mount Abu, and it is a famous religious place for Jains. And there's a one pass also which connects the western side to the eastern side. The eastern side of Aravallis are known as Mewar region, and the western side is known as Marwar region. So if somebody wants to go from Marwar region to the Marwar to Mewar, if somebody wants to go from here to here, then there is a pass which is present, Goram Ghat. This is a mountain pass which is found in Aravallis, which connects the Marwar region to the Mewar region. Okay, after Aravallis, if you move towards the Vindhyas, so Vindhyas are the other kind of mountains which lies to the south of Aravallis, as we had discussed. These Vindhyan mountains, mountain ranges, are also fold mountains, and these are certain small mountains which are a part of these mountains are Bharnar and the Kaimur Hills, which Kaimur Hills are on the north eastern side of Vindhyas. It is actually the separating the north and the south India. So if you'll see north and south India, the main distinction between north and south India has been created by Vindhyas. There are certain rivers which flows through the Rift Valley, which has been created between the Vindhyas and the Satpuras. Between Vindhyas and Satpuras, you will find Narmada River flowing towards the western side. And similarly, if you go from Satpuras to southern side, between Satpuras and the Gavilgarh and Mahadev Hills, you will find Tapi River. Similarly, highest peak in the Vindhyas is the Goodwill Peak, which is at 750 meters. And then we have Satpura ranges. Satpura ranges also, it is a block mountain, unlike the Vindhyas mountain. Block mountain are those mountains which are created due to the rift action, due to the fault action which has been created locally. So certain amount of, let's say, mountain, this is a tableland which was already present in the plateau region initially. Now some tectonic activity happened in this region, and because of that, either what could happen is this certain amount of region in this plateau region will get upholded, and the other region will get drowned. So this region is known as coast, and the depression region would be known as graben. So it is a localized condition which creates the block mountain, and not because of the meeting up of two kind of tectonic plates. So when two tectonic plates meet up, they form fold mountains, and when there is a localized seismic activity which has happened, and it because of that a host and graben kind of topography is created, then these kind of mountains are known as block mountains. So Satpuras are a kind of block mountains. Now highest peak is Dhupgarh, which is at 1350 meters, and the Maikal range, as you can see, which is the eastern extension of Satpura range. It is the eastern extension only, and in this range you will find Amarkantak Plateau or Amarkantak Hills in these range, from where major rivers flow out, like Narmada, Tapi and Son rivers. They come out of Maikal range, from Amarkantak range. There is one pass also which is also known as the gateway of South India, which is found in Satpuras only. This is known as Asirgarh Pass, and it makes an entrance towards the southern India. Then now moving on to the Peninsular Plateau part, we have discussed Aravallis, we have discussed Vindhyas, and we have discussed Satpuras. These are the main 3 ranges which forms the part of central tableland. Now moving on to the Peninsular Plate. Peninsular Plate mein we can divide it into majorly 2 chunks, which are Deccan Plateau, and the second one would be other uplands. We'll discuss these other uplands in a separate manner. But Deccan Plateau ke andar we'll be discussing about Ghats, the western Ghats and the eastern Ghats, the southern hills, which you will find after Nilgiris in the southern part of Tamil Nadu, and then we'll have interior plateau, which consists of many plateaus, including the Deccan Plateau, the Maharashtrian Plateau, or you can say Karnataka Plateau and the Telangana Plateau. Now let us just have a look on peninsular plateaus and each and every hills which you can find. Seeing at these hills might be very complicated for you right now, but you'll have to identify the location of each and every hills or the mountain ranges or the plateau regions in the southern part or the central part of India, depending on location of one or the other mountain ranges or one or the other hills. So if we have seen Aravalis are over here, Vindhyas are over here, and Satpuras are over here, and accordingly we'll see where the other locations of other plateaus and ranges are there. So the region which is marked by the yellow are basically the plateau regions, and the regions which are marked in black color are basically the hills or the ranges. So if you can see, from moving from the eastern side towards the western side towards the eastern side, we'll categorize this along with the ways of maximum ranges like Aravalis, Vindhyas and Satpuras, and we'll move on towards the western side. Now in the eastern side we have Katyhawk Peninsula, which is also a tableland, which is also a plateau region. Then we have Aravalis in the north, Malwa Plateau, as we have already discussed. Right now we'll be discussing it in a detail also. Then we have Vindhyas and Satpuras. Along with it, we have Kaimur Hills, as we have discussed, which is the northeastern extension of Vindhyas. Then Bundelkhand region, which is the Jhansi region between UP and the MP. Then we have Bhandeer Plateau. Then we have Baghelkhand Plateau. Then Satpuras ke south mein, if you'll see, Gabilgarh and Mahadev are the 2 major ranges. Maikal ranges are the extension of Satpura ranges only. Then we have Satpura, Satmala, Ajanta range. Ajanta caves are all found here in the Aurangabad region. Then Balaghat, and then Harishchandra. After Maikal we have Ramgarh Hills in the northern side of Chhattisgarh. We have Dandakarnya Plateau, which is on the southern side of Chhattisgarh, covering the area of Odisha, Chhattisgarh and somewhat a part of Maharashtra also. And then we have Garjat Hills over here, Rajmahal Hills in the northern part of Jharkhand and West Bengal. And connecting these hills we have Shillong Plateau or Meghalaya Plateau over here also. So we are discussing Garo Khasi Jantia along with the Peninsular Plateau, because they are a part of Peninsular Plateau. So the extension of Chota Nagpur Plateau through the Malda Gap, there is a gap between the Chota Nagpur Rajmahal Hills and the Garo Hills, and this gap is also known as Malda Gap. We'll be dealing with it in the subsequent slides also. But there is a gap between Rajmahal Hills and the Garo Khasi Jantia Hills, and Garo Khasi Jantia Hills forms a part of Meghalaya Plateau, which is also an extension of Chota Nagpur Plateau itself. So if you look upon these mark these places in a blank map, you'll get an idea ki on which location, and depending on which location. See, you have to learn about 2-3 ranges. Then only you can locate these ranges accordingly. So if you know Aravalis, Vindhyas and Satpuras, all these ranges, if you'll see, you'll find it they are closer to one another. So Malwa Plateau, you'll learn like this ki Vindhyas, in the north of Vindhyas you'll find Malwa Plateau, in the north of Vindhyas you'll find Bundelkhand, Bhandeer Plateau, in the northeastern side you'll find Kaimur Hills. Okay, in the southern side you'll have Satpura ke southern mein you'll have Satmala, Ajanta, Mahadev. फिर Satpura का extension in the eastern side you'll have Maikal range. Then in the southern side Harishchandra range and everything. Then moving on towards the eastern side we have Garjat Hills, we have Ramgarh Hills, we have Rajmahal Hills in the West Bengal region. Okay. Then we have Chota Nagpur Plateau, and then this Chota Nagpur Plateau is also divided into two parts: Hazaribagh Plateau and the Ranchi Plateau. And accordingly, we'll move on towards the Garo Khasi Jaintia or the Meghalaya Plateau. Now, these are the major plateau which we'll discuss in the Northern Plateau region. So Malabar Plateau, starting with the Malabar Plateau, Bundelkhand Plateau, we have Baghelkhand Plateau, which are together only. Then we have Chota Nagpur Plateau on the eastern side, and the Shillong Plateau, as we have discussed, Meghalaya Plateau, which is known as Shillong Plateau only. It's an extension of Chota Nagpur Plateau. Then in the Deccan Plateau region, we have majorly three plateaus inside it: Deccan Plateau, Karnataka Plateau, and Telangana Plateau. So accordingly, similarly, we'll discuss each one by one. The first one would be Malabar Plateau. So Malabar Plateau is situated in the north of Vindhyas, as we have already discussed, and this Malabar Plateau is like a penny plain. So obviously it's an extension of the Deccan Plateau, and its surface is made up of basaltic lava only, but many of the basaltic lava has been eroded. This has been eroded, and some amount of black soil, which you can obviously find in the Maharashtra Plateau because it is famous for black soil. Regur soil is a local name over there. Some part of the black soil is also found over here. So it lies in the from the eastern side of Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Maharashtra, and Madhya Pradesh. The highest peak in the Malabar region is the Sagar Peak. Sagar Peak is the highest peak, and one of major rivers flows through. These are Chambal, Kane, Chambal, Betwa, and Kali Sindh. These are the basic rivers which flows towards the north flowing rivers, and the west flowing rivers. One of the major west flowing river is Mahi. Mahi river has also one of the main characteristics. If you know, it is the only river in India which crosses to Tropic of Cancer twice. Look in the map, you will find that Mahi is the only river in India which crosses through Tropic of Cancer twice. Now moving on from the Malabar Plateau, we'll move on to the Bundelkhand Plateau. Bundelkhand Plateau is basically sedimentary deposit, not like the majority of the deposit have been covered by the sedimentation, and this sedimentation has also been eroded over the period of time. Now the underlying land is like igneous deposit. So when you go over this region, you will find red soils, and these kind of regions which are heavily eroded by the river action or by any other action, these are known as Badland Topography. So Badland Topography may you will find ravines and gullies formed due to the these gullies are formed due to the first this region doesn't receive rainfall in that much amount which other regions receive, and when they receive rainfall, some seasonal river which flow through it just washes away the top layer of the soil over here. So you will find the granular igneous rocks because this is a part of Peninsular Plateau. So the plateau region has been formed by the basic material of the Peninsular Plateau is igneous rock or the basaltic lava, and over that whatever sedimentary deposits have been deposited over the period of time, they got eroded. So this makes this region as the most infertile region, some of the most infertile region in India. The highest peak over here you will find Siddhapapa Peak. Siddhapapa Hills you will find in this, as it is known for Badland Topography, deep ravines created by Betwa River, Dhasan and Kane rivers. These are all the tributaries of Yamuna. Then we have one of the major features also is you will find diamond deposit over here. Panna is located on the northwestern side of Bundelkhand Plateau, and over there region the Panna mines are there, diamond mines are there. So Bundelkhand Plateau is famous for diamond mines also. Then we move on towards the Baghelkhand Plateau. Baghelkhand Plateau is on the eastern side of the Bundelkhand region, covering the area of Madhya Pradesh, UP and Chhattisgarh. Then we have this region is basically limestone deposits and sandstone deposits you'll find over here, and one of the major river which flows through here is the Son River. Then moving on to the Chota Nagpur Plateau, which lies through the eastern side of Baghelkhand Plateau. Chota Nagpur region, if you'll find the majority of the part covered under the Jharkhand area is under Chota Nagpur, and other regions which it covers, other states which it covers is on Chhattisgarh, West Bengal, Then we have Odisha also. So it's some part of Odisha is also under it, and Bihar obviously. And then this region is also famous for the Rift Valley, which has been created by the Damodar River. Damodar River is a major river which flows through it. And the Chota Nagpur Plateau region is like hard rock material. Not much of a sedimentation is there. Not much. If the rivers are flowing through it, they flow through a rift valley which has already been created in the earlier times. So in the Carboniferous period, you can see through which Damodar River flows. Damodar River flows through it, and now this Damodar River divides this plateau into two parts, two subsequent parts. The upper part is known as the Hazaribagh Plateau, and the southern part is known as the Ranchi Plateau. There are abundant sources of iron ore material. You'll find coal over here also. Mineral resources, rich region is there. And the highest peak you'll find is Parsnath. Parsnath is also famous for Jain religion. You'll find Jain temples over there in Parsnath. Then moving on to the next region, which is Meghalaya Plateau, which is already we have discussed. It's an extension of Chota Nagpur Plateau. So Garo, Khasi, Jantia, and these hills are found over here. And on the eastern side, western side, you'll find the Garo Hills, and the eastern demarcation is the Mikir Hills. Mikir Hills are particularly found in the Assam region. So in the southern Assam region, you'll find Mikir Hills also. So from Garo Hills to the Mikir Hills, this is the extension of Meghalaya Plateau. Now Dhansiri is the major river which passes through this plateau, and the Shillong peak is the highest peak which you'll find in Meghalaya Plateau region. Then moving on to the next part, we have now the Deccan part. In the Deccan part, as we have discussed, Deccan we have divided it into, yes. Okay, Dandkanya Plateau, I think. Okay, Dandkanya Plateau is on the southern side of Chhattisgarh. So Dandkanya Plateau is on the Chhattisgarh, and it covers the area of Andhra Pradesh also. It covers some of the area of Maharashtra also, and several narrow, deep valleys are also formed here through one of the major tributaries of Godavari River, which is Indravati, which flows through this region, Dandkanya Plateau. There is one more river which is called as Tel River, which originates here, and it is one of the major tributaries of Mahanadi. When we will be discussing about the drainage pattern also, you just keep these rivers in mind, so that you get an idea about the originating point of these rivers, from where they originate. One of the this region is also famous for mining. Baladila region is famous for iron ore, aluminium you'll find in this region. And if you look this region in perspective to environment and ecology, sal trees are majorly found in this region. This region is very famous for infamous for Maoist activity also, and many tribals live in this region, in this plateau region. So this is these are the major central plateaus which are found apart from the Deccan Plateau. So now we'll go towards the Deccan Plateau, in which we'll divide the Deccan Plateau into three parts. One would be the Ghats. We'll take on the Ghats, how the Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats have been formed, and what are the major divisions under it. Then we'll move on towards the interior plateau, which I have told you, which are divided into three major parts: Maharashtra Plateau, Telangana Plateau, and the Karnataka Plateau. And the third division would be the coastal plains. So we'll take up after that coastal plains. Now Western Ghats are basically extending from the Tapi River in the northernmost side. If you consider Tapi River from the Gujarat. There was one question UPSC also which asked about in how many states Western Ghats are present in. So from the Gujarat, from the river Tapi, if you consider from river Tapi towards the Cape Comorin or the Cape of Kanyakumari. So under it also, there are three major divisions. We are dividing it into three parts: the northern Sahyadris, the middle Sahyadris, and the southern Sahyadris, or the southern hills. So this is the major divisions if you can find. These mountain ranges, the basic characteristic of these mountain ranges in Indian context is that these are the second largest mountain ranges in India after Himalayas. Obviously, these are stretched from the Tapi River in the north towards Cape Kanyakumari in the south, and the Western Ghats are obviously divided, as we have discussed, into northern Sahyadris, middle Sahyadris, and southern Sahyadris. Now we see the extension of these three divisions individually. In the northern Sahyadris extend from Tapi region towards the northern side of Goa. So Goa you will find over here, somewhere over here. Goa you will find Goa over here. So from Tapi river towards the northern side of Goa, the northern Sahyadris are extended. These are formed of lava deposits. Obviously, in the Cretaceous period, when the Western Ghats were building up and the Deccan Plateau was building up, these deposit form of Ghats in the northern side were form of those deposits. The highest peak in this, because it constitutes the majority of portion of Maharashtra. In Maharashtra also, the highest peak is Kalsubai. So in Kalsubai, 1646 meter. This is the highest peak of the northern Sahyadris. Then moving on towards the middle Sahyadri. Middle Sahyadri extends from the Goa, northern Goa. We have covered the northern Sahyadris. Now after Goa towards the Nilgiri Hills. So Nilgiri Hills you'll find in the southern part at the border of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. So from Goa towards the this part, from Goa, here you'll find Goa, and the southern part Nilgiris are there. So up till Nilgiris there is middle Sahyadri. So southern demarcation is Palghat. Palghat pass we'll discuss. This is the major important pass which you'll find in Nilgiris, which connects the Kerala side towards the Tamil Nadu side. The highest peak is the majority of the middle Sahyadris obviously passes through the state of Karnataka. The highest peak is Kudremukh, which is itself in Karnataka. Kaveri river is the originating point in the southern side of Karnataka. You will find there's a place called Pushpagiri, or more specifically Tal Kaveri, from where the Kaveri river originates. So Nilgiri Hills are basically creating a knot between the eastern Ghats and the western Ghats. So western Ghats meet the eastern Ghats through Nilgiris only. Now this is the major characteristics of the middle Sahyadris. Now from moving on towards the southern Sahyadris. Southern Sahyadris obviously extend from the Nilgiris towards the Cape Comorin. So the last hills you will find Nagarcoil Hills also in this Tamil Nadu region. So from north to south there are many major hills which consist of Annamalai Hills, Cardamom Hills, and then you will find the Nagarcoil Hills in the southernmost part. Okay, the highest peak would be in the Anaimalai Hills. You will find Anaimudi. For whole of the Western Ghats, this is also the highest peak. So every other peak which we have discussed in the section wise detail, those were the highest peak of that section, but Anaimudi is the highest peak of Western Ghats, and it is also the highest peak of Western Ghats as is written. Palani Hills you will find in the eastern side and eastern side of it. So Nilgiri connects the Western Ghats through Palani Hills over here, and it creates a knot in that sense. And from here you will find after Anaimalai you find Nagarcoil Hills in the southern side. Or first you will find the Cardamom Hills. Then in the end you will find Nagarcoil Hills. So in that sense, these are the major three divisions of the Western Ghats. Now, as we have discussed some of the few of the passes in the Himalayas, similarly there are certain passes which you should know which are present in the Western Ghats. These passes are Thal Ghat, Bor Ghat, Pal Ghat, and Shenkota. So these, if you see Thal Ghat is majorly present. These two Ghats, Thal Ghat and Bor Ghat, are basically present in the northern Sahyadris, and it connects the Thal Ghat connects Mumbai to Nashik, and the Bor Ghat connects Mumbai to Pune. Similarly, we have two major passes in the southern region also. In the southern Sahyadris, we have from From Kochi to Salem, there is a pass called Palghat, which is a major pass, which we have seen in the previous slide also. It lies in the connecting region of Nilgiris, where Nilgiris connects to the Eastern Ghats or the Palani Hills. And then we have Kolam, and between Kolam and Madurai, we have Sankota Pass. So Sankota Pass connects the Kolam region towards the Madurai region. Then these passes, the Sankota Pass is majorly found in the Cardamom Hills. Now, Western Ghats we have divided it into three parts. There are certain divisions which we'll have to see in the Eastern Ghats also. So Eastern Ghats, the extension of Eastern Ghats, if you'll see from the Mahanadi Delta, which you'll find in the Odisha region, from the Mahanadi Delta towards the Nilgiris in the south, you'll find the Eastern Ghats. There is no extension downwards like the way we have seen in the Western Ghats. The Eastern Ghats extends up till Nilgiris only. These are also the old mountains created very early, in the very early stages, and we don't know how they were created, but the characteristic of these mountains are sort of old fold mountains. There are very numerous amounts of folds which you can find in these ranges. There are some of the major peaks which you can find in this region. Some of as opposed to the Western Ghats, which when Western Ghats appears to be continuous, Eastern Ghats are not so much continuous. You'll find certain peaks in certain locations or certain states, and somewhere you'll find the plain region lying between them also. So if anybody asks you a question, which of the following Ghats are either Western Ghats or the Eastern Ghats are continuous in nature, Western Ghats would be the right answer. There are certain peaks, we'll see it in the map how they are located. There is Niyamgiri peak, which is a major peak you'll find in the Eastern Ghats in the Odisha region. Then we have Mahindgiri peak, which you'll find in the Odisha, between Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. This is the highest peak, one of the highest peak. Then we have Jindagada peak, which is the highest peak of Eastern Ghats, and you'll find it near Vishakhapatnam. At 16,090 meters, you'll find Jindagada peak. Then we have Nallamala Hills in the Andhra Pradesh region. We have Palkonda range, which extends from the Andhra Pradesh region to the Tamil Nadu region also, and then Javadi, and then we have Chevroy in the last. So these are the basic major peaks and the ranges which you'll find in the Eastern Ghats. There are certain Palani Hills also, which we have discussed, which connects the Nilgiri Hills to the Eastern Ghats. These are also present in the northern side of the Tamil Nadu. But all in all, these are the major peaks which you should remember while reading about Eastern Ghats. Then now we have completed with the Peninsular Plateau. We have taken up all the major plateau regions right from the central tableland towards the southern part of India. Now we'll take up coastal plains. Coastal plains. There are these coastal plains in India are divided basically into two parts: the Western Coastal Plain and the Eastern Coastal Plain. The Western Coastal Plain has certain divisions in which we have divided. Right from the Gujarat region, we have Kutch, Run of Kutch. Then we have Katyhawk Peninsula, or the Katyhawk coast. Then moving on towards the side, in the majorly in the Maharashtra region lies the Konkan Coast, Maharashtra and the Goa region. Then we have in the southern part we have Malabar coast. Similarly, in the eastern side we have divided the coast into three parts. The first one would be moving from the northern side, we have Utkal coast. Then we have Andhra coast in the southern side, and lastly we have Coromandel coast in the southern side, Tamil Nadu region. So this is the Western Coastal Plain, and this will be the Eastern Coastal Plain. Now subdivisions of the Western Coastal Plain, as we have seen: the Kutch Peninsular Plateau or the region, Run of Kutch, the area of Run of Kutch. Then we have Katyhawk Peninsular Plain, Katyawar in the southern side of it. Then we have Konkan Plain covering the area of Maharashtra and Goa. Then we have Malabar Plains. Now discussing each and every plain in detail, we'll take up Kutch Peninsular Plain. So Kutch Peninsular Plain lies in the northern part of Gujarat. This was basically an island initially, but when the Indus River and all the rivers which were draining down into it filled up the gaps between them, it formed a plain area. Luni River, one of the major river inland drainage system, disappears in this region. So Luni River flows from the northern side of Gujarat and Rajasthan, and then flows into this region. There are three major islands which you can find in this region. These are Pacham, Khadir, and Bela Islands. Recently, Dholavira, you have seen that in news. Dholavira is the major Harappan port, was a major Harappan port in the Harappan times, and it is found in one of the islands known as Khadir Islands, which is present in the Rann of Kutch region. So, moving on to the next coastal plain, which is the Katyhawk coastal plain. So it lies in the southern part of Kutch Peninsula. Then we have Nal Sarovar, a very famous bird sanctuary, which is located in this region, and Mount Girnar, which is of volcanic origin. It is also found in this region. Mount Girnar is found in the southern Katyhawar Peninsula. Then moving on to the Konkan Plains. Konkan Plains extend from the Daman region, Daman and Diu. From Daman and Diu, you will find it towards at the end in the southern side. You will find the Goa. So from Daman and Diu to Goa, you will find the width of this is very narrow at this point. The Konkan Plains becomes very narrow. Over the Rann of Kutch, you will find the width is very large, but as you move down and towards the Konkan coast, you'll find the width narrowing down from 50 to 80 kilometers. It is wider near the Mumbai, but in all other places it narrows down. There are certain rivers which flow through these plains. Obviously, the watershed created by the Western Ghats over here makes or force these rivers to flow towards the western side or in the Arabian Sea. So Zuari, Mandvi, these are the basic rivers which flow through it. Juari and Mandvi are the major rivers which flow through Goa, and these are also the west flowing rivers. So if somebody says that India has only two west flowing rivers, that is wrong. There are many west flowing rivers in the southern part, but these are very small rivers. See, Periyar river is also west flowing river. So you need to keep a track of all those rivers also, because majority of the rivers are flowing from western side to the eastern side. But you'll have to keep a track of certain unique rivers which are also flowing towards the western side. It will help you in eliminating the options if UPSC asks such questions from such area. Then we move on to the Konkan Plain we have covered. Then we move on to the Malabar Plain. Malabar Plain is the southernmost side of the western coastal plain. It extends from the Marmagao region towards the Mangalore region or Marmagao region towards the Kanyakumari. So Cape Comorin tak matlab ye extend hota hai. Then we have certain unique characteristic in the Malabar region where lakes and lagoons and backwaters are present. These backwaters are known as kayals also. One of the largest kayal, Vembanad Lake, is present in this region. The National Waterway 3, which flows through these kayals, is also present in the Malabar coast. So these backwater, the water from the sea enters into the land area through these kayals. These are saltwater bodies, and Vembanad Lake is also considered as one of the largest lake in India, found in the Malabar Plains. Then we move on. Western coast we have completed. Then now we are moving towards the eastern coastal plains. So eastern coastal plains, moving from the northern side to the southern side, we have Utkal Plains, then we have Andhra Plains, and then we have Coromandel Plains. So if you'll these are if river basin wise we are distinguishing or demarcating their location. So from Subarna Rekha river, it originates from Chota Nagpur Plateau and enters into Bay of Bengal in Odisha. Subarna Rekha. So from Subarna Rekha to in the southern side, Cape Comorin or Cape of Kanyakumari. So from Subarna Rekha river to Cape Comorin, you'll find. So this is the extension of Eastern Ghats. These are also divided into three parts as we have discussed. So moving on to the individual coastal region. So first we'll find the Utkal Plains. The Utkal Plains lies in the, as we can see from the Hilka Lake, Subarnarekha river towards the From the Subarnrekha river in the northern side toward in the southern side lies the Chilka Lake. So Chilka Lake is present in Odisha, and it is the southernmost boundary, forms the southernmost boundary of Utkal Plains, or the delta of along the delta of Mahanadi also. The delta of Mahanadi is also found near the Chilka Lake only. So Chilka Lake is at the border with the Andhra coast, and where the Mahanadi delta is also present, it is where the Utkal Plains are at its widest coast. So it is in the northern, mostly the part of Odisha is only covered in the Utkal Plains. Then we have Andhra coast, which lies from the towards the southern side of Chilka Lake. From Chilka Lake towards the other lake is Pulikat Lake. So Pulikat Lake also forms a boundary between Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. So from Chilka Lake towards the Pulikat Lake, we have Andhra coast, and it covers the deltaic region of two major rivers, which are Krishna and Godavari. So Krishna and Godavari rivers are have a deltaic region in these coastal plains. Two major important ports which are present in the Andhra coast are Visakhapatnam and Machilipatnam. So these are the two important ports which you can remember while talking about Andhra coast. Then in the southern side we have Coromandel coast. So Coromandel coast, obviously it will move from the southern side of the Pulikat Lake towards the Cape of Comorin, or Cape of Kanyakumari. So it forms a deltaic region of Kaveri river, which is a very fertile region for rice production. Now Coromandel coast is also divided into two parts. So the northern side is known as Northern Sarkars. So northern Sarkars were divided in at the time of Sher Shah Suri. He divided the state into different units, federal units, which were known as Sarkars. So northern part of the Tamil Nadu is known as Northern Sarkars, and the southern part obviously is known as Coromandel coast, which is based on the nomenclature of Chola Mandalam, and defining the characteristic of this region being ruled up by Cholas in the ancient time. So mighty Cholas in the ancient time. So the southern side is Coromandel coast. Actually, in the local name it is known as, but the northern side of these coast is known as Northern Sarkars. Now coastal plains are also done. We'll take up islands. There are certain islands which are present in India. If we are categorizing it on the basis of their area and group of islands, we are dividing the islands into two major parts, which are the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and the second one would be the Lakshadweep Islands. So you'll find Andaman and Nicobar Islands over there, and Lakshadweep Islands over there. So now we'll take up Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So Andaman and Nicobar Islands lies in the Bay of Bengal region. The Bay of Bengal region may they lie, and the physiographic situation or physiographic conditions of these Andaman and Nicobar Islands are as such that they are created due to the mountain building activity which happened inside the sea. So inside the Bay of Bengal region. So these are only they are considered as the protruded regions of the Himalayas. When the Himalayas are forming up, the eastern side of Himalayas, which are moving to taking a syntaxical belt, as we have already discussed from the Namcha Barwa, and then they enter into Myanmar, Arakan Yoma, and these are also considered as a part of Arakan Yoma only. So at the tertiary epoch, when the mountains were then building up, these fold mountains were building up, Andaman and Nicobar also got formed. There are around 350 islands which are present in this region, but only 38 of it are inhabited. The highest peak which you can find in this region is Saddle Peak, which is located in the northern Andaman region. There are certain passage, and there are certain channels which divides the island into various parts. We'll discuss those islands. We'll discuss those channels also and passage also. One of the major channel which pass through, which is closer to the Andaman region, is the Coco Channel. Coco Channel is in the northern side. It divides Myanmar. It creates a division between Myanmar and India. So it's a part of India. This Andaman and Nicobar is a part of India, and in the northern side you will find the Coco Channel, which creates a divide between Myanmar and India. We have a 10-degree channel, 11 degrees you can find here, 10 degrees below it. Then you'll find a 10-degree channel which divides the Little Andaman to the Car Nicobar. So Andaman and Nicobar are divided by 10-degree channel. This question has been asked by UPSC previously. So we'll keep a track of all these things. What if Tropic of Capricorn, Tropic of Cancer, these major lines which divides a particular island or particular region. We'll have to keep a track of it also. There is a Duncan Passage between the Rutland Island. Rutland Island you'll find in Lower Andaman. Lower Andaman mein somewhere here you'll find Rutland Island. And Little Andaman. So Little Andaman and Rutland Island के बीच से you'll find Duncan Passage, Lower Andaman and the Little Andaman. So Rutland Island is a part of Lower Andaman only, and between them you'll find Duncan Passage. There are two volcanic islands are also present in there, in the region of Andaman. In the northern side of Andaman you'll find Barren Island and Narcondam Island. There are the two major islands, volcanic islands, which are also present in the Andaman and Nicobar region. Then we'll move on to the Lakshadweep. Lakshadweep Islands are different from the Andaman Islands in the context, in the manner is that they are formed up of coral regions. So from the Chagos archipelago region, these are formed up of coral. Basically, they are coral deposits. They are form of coral deposits only, unlike the Andaman and Nicobar Island, which were formed due to the tectonic activity. So these are formed by the deposition of corals on the Chagos Lakshadweep submarine ridge. There is a 9-degree channel which separates the Kavarati, the major headquarters of the Lakshadweep, from the Minicoy Island, which is the southernmost island of the Lakshadweep island group. So Minicoy Island you will find over here in the southernmost side, and 9-degree channel separates the Kavarati Island with the Minicoy Island. There is also 8-degree channel in the southernmost part, which creates a divide between the Minicoy, or the last island of the Lakshadweep, from the Maldives. So in the southern side of the 8-degree channel you will find Maldives also. The 9-degree channel creates a division between Kavarati and Minicoy, and between Minicoy and Maldives you have 8-degree channel. So these are the basic channels which are dividing the particular island group, and the 8-degree channel particularly divides it between the Maldives and the Lakshadweep Islands. Then apart from these major islands, we have certain kind of prominent islands also. So these islands are located on the eastern and the western coast, both eastern and the western coast, and they are formed for the varieties of regions. Some on the eastern side, majority on the eastern sides were formed due to the deposition of the rivers, because majority of the rivers are flowing into the Bay of Bengal region. So in the Bay of Bengal region, when they deposit their silt, some new islands have been formed over the period of time. We'll see how they are formed. And in the eastern side, majority of the islands, if you find on the eastern side, they are formed due to the movement of the Gondwana land. When the Gondwana land got separated, the Indian subcontinent got separated from the Gondwana land in the Cretaceous period. Then when it got separated, certain island groups or those also formed along the western coast. So in the eastern coast, majority are formed by the silt deposit, and in the western side, many of them are formed due to the movement of the plate. So one by one we'll see how many islands are there. One is the New Moor Island. This is the recently made up island. You'll find this island is made on the Sundarban Delta, when the Ganga river has deposited or its silt down the line. A new island has been formed over here. Some way back in 2014 or 2015, there was a case also running on between India and Bangladesh about the sovereignty of New Moor Island in this region, Sundarban Delta region. But after the permanent arbitration, it has been decided that New Moor has India has a sovereignty, full and final sovereignty over the New Moor Islands. Then we have Ganga Sagar Island. Ganga Sagar Island is a very pilgrimage place. It's a religious place which is found in the Sundarban Delta region only, and it is formed the similar way in which the new Moor Island has been formed due to the deposition of silt and materials down the line from by the river Ganga. Then moving southward, we have Abdul Kalam Island. Abdul Kalam Island was previously in it is found in the coastal regions of Odisha, and it was previously known as the Wheeler Island. After the commemoration of Abdul Kalam, Sir Abdul Kalam, our previous president, this island has been named after him. This island is also famous for missile testing. Various missile testing has been done here. If you see, there are only two tri-services command present in India. One of them is Strategic Force Command, which is also present in the Abdul Kalam Island. All the nuclear forces commands and everything is also present in the Abdul Kalam Island. So various of the missile testing and everything also happens in Abdul Kalam Island. Some of the national park is also present over here. If you are reading current affairs in the recent times, the Bhitarkanika National Park is also found here. It was famous for, can anybody from the online, olive-ridley turtle. Gahirmatha Wildlife Sanctuary, Marine Wildlife Sanctuary is also present around here. So these are the basic regions or the national parks also which are around the Abdul Kalam Island. Then we have Narban Island. Narban Island is also in Odisha region. It is famous for Narban Bird Sanctuary. So Narban Bird Sanctuary, many of the migratory birds and birds visit this place every year around the every year. Then we have Hopeland Island. Hope Island is present near Vishakhapatnam, and it's a parallel island. Like it is like a parallel, what you can say, parallel body along the coast, and this helps in reducing the flow of waves and everything. Like if some tidal waves are entering into the Vishakhapatnam area, the Hope Island prevents the flow of these tidal waves into the port region. Then we have after that we have Sriharikota Island. Sriharikota Island is located in Pulicat Lake, the famous Pulicat Lake, which we have discussed, lies between Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Then we have Sriharikota mein we have Missile Launching Center. The Satish Dhawan Space Center is located here, and from here, Missile Space Center is present over here, and many of the satellites and are launched from this location, Sriharikota. Then we have, moving on the south, we have Pamban Island. Pamban Island is a part of Adams Bridge, which is between India and Sri Lanka, and it is one of the constituent of that bridge only, and found in the Coromandel coast, along the Coromandel coast of the Tamil Nadu region. Gulf of Mannar Wildlife Sanctuary is nearby it. Then on the western side, we have Willingdon Island. Willingdon Island is found in the backwaters of the Vembanad Lake, and Willingdon it is a man-made island. It is not a natural island. All the other islands, as we have discussed, these are the natural-made islands, but the Willingdon Island over here, it is a man-made island. Then moving on towards the north, in the western side, we have St. Mary's Island. St. Mary's Island is formed up of basaltic rock. This the major characteristic, as we have discussed on the western side of islands, and the rock structure of the western side is also of the basaltic origin. And the St. Mary's Island groups, these are actually the island groups. So 3-4 islands are there which are together known as St. Mary's Island around the coast of Karnataka. And due to their this is also known, very famously known as Coconut Island. So St. Mary's Island, the other name for St. Mary's Island is Coconut Island, because many of the coconut varieties grow over here. Then moving on to the north, we have Salsa Island. Salsa Island lies in Mumbai, and in between the Vasai Creek and the Thane Creek. So in the northern side you have a Vasai Creek, and in the southern side we have Thane Creek. So between Vasai Creek and Thane Creek lies the Salsa Island. Similarly, we have Alia Bet Island also. So Alia Island is located in the Gujarat region, in the Katyhawk region, Gulf of Khambat region, and Bet in Gujarati means island only. So if somebody said Alia Bet over here is what does it mean? It means island. And this island is formed at the estuary point of Narmada. So where there is a Narmada has an estuary and goes down into the Arabian Sea. At that point, you will find Alia Bet Island. I think we have covered each and every physiographic division of India, the 6 major physiographic divisions of India, how these basic features have evolved through the period of time, and what are the major locations inside it, including the islands, including the ranges, including the plateau, including some of the major rivers which flow through these. In the drainage system, which will be the next class, in the drainage system we'll take up all the rivers, major rivers, Himalayan rivers, peninsular rivers, and we'll also revise these regions again, because these regions are also a part of rivers only. So in subsequent classes we'll be revising up the previous classes also, and I would want you to look upon these places in your maps also, in your atlases also, so that you get an idea about what all places which are lying around these regions, so that you memorize these locations in a better manner. See, in the island, as we have discussed in the islands itself, while discussing about the island, I've given you certain national parks, or certain river which were flowing, or certain locations which or their formation, which will help you in memorizing these islands all along the way. So try to create, if you are reading about some new places or something, try to look and complement the information of that particular location with another information, so that it will be easier for you to remember it for a long period of time. So hope to see you soon in the next lecture. I think the next lecture would be on 4th of April. We'll be taking on drainage system of India, all the rivers and everything, and I hope to see you soon in the next session. Thank you.